He doesn't text her first. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't chase. And yet, she can't stop thinking about him. It bothers her. The silence, the calm, the fact that he's not orbiting her like every other man she's known. That indifference, that quiet, unmoved energy awakens something primal in her. Because deep down, every woman feels an instinct she can't fully explain. She is drawn to the man who does not need her. Brother, this is one of the most uncomfortable truths in modern psychology, and it's one few men ever learn. The moment a man becomes dependent on a woman for validation, attraction begins to die. But the moment he becomes self-contained, something shifts. She senses it, she feels it, and suddenly he becomes the gravitational center in her emotional universe. Why? Because women are biologically and psychologically wired to test for strength. And strength isn't how loud you speak or how many muscles you have. It's your emotional sovereignty. It's the energy that says, you can come into my world, but my world does not collapse without you. This is what Carl Jung called the integration of the self, a man who is whole within, not seeking completion through another. In relationships, most men unconsciously surrender their power the moment they fall in love. They make her their mission, their purpose, their source of happiness. But women don't fall in love with men who orbit them. They fall in love with men who orbit a higher purpose. In a 2018 study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, researchers found that women rated emotionally independent men as more attractive, dominant, and mysterious than those who displayed high emotional dependency. Indifference, when authentic, communicates status, focus, and self-control, all signals of masculine value throughout human evolution. And yet society teaches the opposite. It tells you to be softer, more available, more emotionally open, but it never warns you of the psychological cost. You become predictable. You lose mystery. You lose polarity. A woman doesn't want to be your entire world. She wants to enter your world, one that existed long before her and will continue long after. That is why she's drawn to the man who doesn't need her. Because in his presence, she feels something she's lost in herself: stability. So, the question isn't how to make her love you. The real question is, why do you keep giving away the power that makes her attracted to you in the first place? This is where everything begins, and in the next section, we'll break down the psychological mechanism behind this paradox, and why women instinctively test men until they find one who stands unshaken. Every man who's ever dated a woman knows this feeling. You think things are going well, the connection feels strong, the chemistry undeniable, and then suddenly she pulls away. She becomes distant, cold, unpredictable. You start overanalyzing every text, every pause, every word. But what most men never understand is that this isn't rejection, it's assessment. A woman's mind is constantly evaluating. Is this man solid? Can he lead? Will he crumble when faced with resistance? She's not always doing it consciously. It's instinct, a deep evolutionary drive rooted in survival. See, thousands of years ago, a woman's safety and survival depended on her ability to read a man's strength, not just physical, but emotional and psychological. A man who was needy, reactive, or easily swayed by emotion couldn't protect or provide. A man who stood calm in chaos, who could maintain presence under pressure. That man was a safe bet for her future and her children's survival. Fast forward to today, and the environment has changed, but the instincts haven't. When she tests you, she's not trying to ruin your peace, she's trying to find it. She's subconsciously looking for the edge of your composure, to see if you're a man who stands firm or a boy who bends at the first sign of disapproval. Every moment of emotional friction is a silent question. Do you control yourself, or do your emotions control you? Psychologists call this mate value calibration, the process by which women subconsciously test and adjust their perception of a man's worth based on his emotional responses. A man who gets defensive, needy, or argumentative during her tests instantly signals insecurity. But a man who remains calm, grounded, even amused, signals mastery. That's why when you chase harder after she withdraws, she loses interest. Not because she hates affection, but because you've revealed dependency. You've shown that her attention governs your state, and the moment your state depends on her validation, she knows you've lost inner control. Brother, remember this. Every test is an invitation to remain unmoved, not cold, just centered, because when you stand firm in who you are, you mirror the masculine energy that the feminine craves: structure, certainty, leadership. And here's the truth most men can't face. Women don't test you because they want to find weakness. They test you because they hope not to. In the next section, we'll go even deeper into this dynamic, exploring why emotional detachment is not cruelty, but clarity, and how mastering it makes you the kind of man who commands respect and desire without ever chasing either. Most men confuse emotional detachment with indifference. They think it means being cold, heartless, or numb. But true detachment isn't the absence of feeling, it's the mastery of it. When a man is emotionally detached, he doesn't stop caring. He simply refuses to let his emotions dictate his decisions. He feels deeply, but he remains anchored. And that's the difference between a boy who reacts and a man who leads. Women can sense this difference instantly. It's in your tone, your eyes, your silence. When you're detached, she feels your presence, not your pressure. She feels your focus, not your need. This is why emotional detachment is magnetic. It communicates something primal. You cannot be controlled. And in a world where most men crumble at the first sign of rejection, a man who stays composed becomes unforgettable. Psychologist Viktor Frankl once wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose. That space is detachment, the ability to observe emotion without drowning in it." Women are drawn to men who live in that space because it signals self-possession. It says, "I am in command of myself." Think about it. What happens when you're too emotionally invested too soon? You overtext, overthink, overgive. You lose polarity and she loses respect. But when you maintain calm, when you can love without obsession and connect without losing identity, she leans toward you. Because your stillness gives her something rare in today's chaos: emotional gravity. In Jungian terms, this is the union of the animus and anima, the masculine principle of logic and direction harmonizing with emotional depth. When you embody that balance, you stop seeking validation and start radiating authority. Your calm becomes the sanctuary she wants to enter. But here's the hard truth: you can't fake this. Detachment that's performative, the "I don't care" mask, only reveals fear. Real detachment comes from abundance, from a life filled with purpose, passion, and mission, where women are a complement, not the center. When your heart is grounded in purpose, her moods don't shake you. When your mind is disciplined, her silence doesn't define your worth. That's when you shift from chasing love to commanding attraction. Women can sense this power without you saying a word. It's not arrogance, it's self-certainty. The man who doesn't need her is free to choose her, and that freedom is what she respects most. In the next section, we'll explore the deeper truth behind this freedom: how purpose, not romance, must become the axis of a man's life. Because once your mission replaces your need for validation, the world, and the women in it, start revolving around you. A man without a mission drifts. He clings to women, to comfort, to anything that fills the emptiness of directionless living. But a man with purpose moves differently. His eyes are fixed, his energy controlled, his focus unbreakable. And that, brother, is what magnetizes everything toward him, especially women. You see, the masculine spirit is designed to build, to conquer, to transcend. It's not satisfied by temporary pleasures. It's wired for long-term meaning. When a man places a woman above his purpose, he reverses nature's order, and chaos follows. Because women are not drawn to men who orbit them, they are drawn to men who orbit a higher cause. Machiavelli once wrote that power belongs to the man who can control his appetites. That's the essence of masculine mastery, discipline over desire. Most men today have forgotten this. They chase the dopamine rush, the text, the attention, the validation. They live for the next emotional high instead of the long game of self-creation. But when your purpose consumes you, when your work, your vision, your growth become your axis, you create gravitational pull. You stop chasing and start attracting. Women feel it instinctively. They may not understand why, but something in them respects it, even if it frustrates them. Because a man on a mission cannot be controlled through emotion. He's not sitting by the phone, wondering if she still loves him. He's too busy building something that will outlast both of them. And ironically, that's when she feels the strongest pull toward him. Because he's living in alignment with what the feminine subconsciously desires. A man anchored in purpose. A 2020 study in evolutionary psychology revealed that women consistently rated drive and ambition as top traits of attraction, above looks, humor, or even kindness. Why? Because ambition signals competence. It tells her, this man can lead. This man can create. This man doesn't need me to complete him, but he chooses me to complement him. And that choice, brother, is powerful. When a man lives by purpose, he doesn't suppress emotion, he channels it. His frustration becomes fuel, his heartbreak becomes art, his loneliness becomes focus. The woman becomes part of his story, not the story itself. And she feels safer in that space because she knows, even if she left, his world wouldn't collapse. He'd grieve, reflect, and continue forward. That's not detachment, that's dominion. So if you want to attract respect, desire, and devotion, stop asking how to make women love you. Start asking, what am I building that makes me impossible to ignore? Because purpose is the ultimate magnet. And in the next section, we'll explore what happens when you lose it, how dependence erodes desire, and why most modern men have forgotten how to stand alone. There's a reason so many men feel drained in modern relationships. They give everything: time, money, attention, emotion, and somehow, the more they give, the less respect they get. They think love is a transaction, that devotion earns desire. But here's the truth, most will never say out loud. The moment she senses you need her, attraction begins to die. Neediness is the slow poison of masculine energy. It doesn't show up all at once, it creeps in silently. It's the constant texting, the checking if she's okay, the anxiety when she doesn't reply fast enough. It's the subtle way you make her your emotional compass. And it's the instant she feels your world revolves around her approval that she starts to pull away. Why? Because biologically and psychologically, the feminine cannot trust a man who lacks inner stability. Her instincts are ancient. They search for safety in the man's composure, not in his compliance. When you become reactive, she feels the ground beneath her shake, and she will test harder, withdraw faster, and lose interest sooner, not out of cruelty, but out of instinct. This is why emotional dependence is so destructive. When your sense of worth comes from her response, you give her the keys to your identity. You stop leading, stop deciding, stop being the force she once admired, and become another man orbiting her moods. But here's the paradox. She wants to feel your presence, not your pressure. She wants to feel chosen, not needed. Psychologists call this reactive attachment, when one partner's emotional state is completely tethered to the other's behavior. Men trapped in this pattern become emotional servants instead of emotional anchors. They stop being men and start being caretakers of chaos. Brother, that's not love, that's self-erasure, and every time you bend your boundaries to keep her happy, you confirm her deepest suspicion that you are not her equal, but her emotional dependent. True desire can only exist in polarity, between stability and movement, direction and emotion, needlessness and longing. When you embody stillness, she moves toward you. When you chase her movement, she stops. That's the timeless dance one modern men have forgotten. You don't reclaim masculine energy by withdrawing love, but by reclaiming center. By knowing, I want her, but I do not need her. That sentence alone changes everything, because when you stop needing her validation, you become unpredictable again, mysterious again, alive again. Your energy returns to its natural polarity, powerful, calm, magnetic, and that's when attraction reignites, not because you played games, but because you remembered who you are. In the final section, we'll bring it all together, how the man who doesn't need her becomes the one every woman remembers, and why living from sovereignty, not scarcity, is the path to peace, power, and timeless attraction. When a man finally understands that he doesn't need her, something changes forever. His energy shifts from chasing to choosing, from proving himself to being himself. That is the moment he becomes sovereign, a man whole unto himself. This kind of man is rare today. Most are lost in emotional dependency, scrolling through illusions of perfection, measuring their worth through attention and validation. But a sovereign man operates differently. He's grounded, disciplined, calm in both silence and chaos. He knows that love is beautiful, but it's not his purpose. And because he doesn't cling to it, he experiences it more deeply than anyone else. A woman can sense this kind of freedom. It's in the way he listens without trying to impress, the way he looks at her, not from need, but from choice. She feels his boundaries not as walls, but as strength, because his calm tells her, I can love you fully, but I can walk away peacefully. That balance, love without attachment, is what every feminine soul unconsciously seeks, not because she wants to be rejected, but because she wants to feel the gravity of a man who cannot be moved by fear. And brother, this is where the paradox completes itself. The man who doesn't need her becomes the one she cannot forget. His silence lingers, his absence echoes, because he touched her not through dependence, but through depth. He reflected to her what every woman craves to feel, the presence of a man who is whole, steady, and unshakable. Jung hinted at this truth, that man's highest calling is self-overcoming, the pursuit of becoming complete within himself. Only from that wholeness can he love freely, give fully, and walk away without losing himself. This is the energy that changes lives. It commands respect, not through dominance, but through dignity. It attracts love, not through strategy, but through self-mastery. So, if you've ever felt like your worth depended on her affection, let this be your awakening. You were never meant to chase. You were meant to lead. You were meant to become the man who doesn't need to be chosen, because he already chose himself. And once you reach that place, brother, you'll see it clearly. You don't attract peace by controlling others. You attract it by mastering yourself. So take this message, let it sink in, like and share it with a brother who's still chasing love in all the wrong places, because he needs to hear this truth. The man who doesn't need her is the man she can never replace. Subscribe and support the mission using the link in the description below.